The Bengals get the last laugh in the end. Mike Petraglia inside Highmark Stadium, where the Bengals defeat the Buffalo Bills by a score of 27-10 in this AFC divisional game, played mostly in snow throughout. It did not faze Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They came out on fire in this game. Ted Karras saying that Joe Burrow came out 9 for 9 in the sleet. What more could you ask for? I think every Bengal fan was thinking the same thing. Joe Burrow with a touchdown pass to Jamar Chase of 28 yards right out of the chute on the opening drive of the game certainly set the tempo of this contest. The Bengals defense then forced a 3-and-out. They got the ball back. They marched right back down the field. An 18-yard touchdown pass off to the corner of the end zone to tight end Hayden Hurst. It was 14-0, and the crowd became stunningly quiet here inside Highmark Stadium. Of course, you knew the Bills would answer eventually in the first half, and they did. They marched down the field 75 yards, and they got into the end zone on a Josh Allen touchdown pass. That would be the only touchdown Lou Anarumo's Bengals defense would give up on the afternoon. A spectacular defensive effort from the Cincinnati Bengals here on Sunday afternoon on the road in a hostile environment. They more than answered the bell, did the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Offensively, a cup of Joe, maybe 2 cups of Joe here for the Bengals, as Joe Burrow, as we said, started out red hot. He was 9 for 9 to open the game. He finished this game with 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, played a remarkably clean game again. It might have been his best all-around playoff performance in his 2 years in the NFL postseason. He was spectacular on Sunday, razor sharp when he had to be, converting third downs when he had to, and on Sunday he took check down passes to Joe Mixon and Hayden Hurst, and also to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. He did not look to make the big shot downfield very often here on Sunday. He didn't need to. He was that efficient underneath with the short game passing. The other big offensive star, Joe Mixon. After the game, he said, "It's been a disappointing year for me individually, but I'm more than happy to contribute to a team that has Super Bowl aspirations." And certainly what the Bengals showed here on Sunday afternoon is they definitely have more than enough Super Bowl aspirations to win 2 more games and get the first Vince Lombardi in franchise history. Joe Mixon finishing this game 20 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown in the third quarter that really iced this game away for the Bengals. It put them up 24-10, and the way the Bengals were shutting down the Bills offense, Bills really didn't have any answer in the fourth quarter. The Bengals would add a fourth quarter 20-yard field goal from Evan McPherson to account for the final score of 27-10. Coming off the field, the Bengals had lots to say about the NFL's ticket plan for a potential AFC championship game between the Bills and Chiefs. Had the Bills won this game, of course they didn't, so the Bengals took many opportunities to make fun of the NFL and those poor fans who bought their tickets for Atlanta and the Mercedes-Benz stadium down in Atlanta for next week's potential game that, of course, now will never happen. Zach Taylor said, "I hate to ruin the NFL plans. I hope those people get their money back." Also echoing those sentiments were Jamar Chase, Eli Apple, Tyler Boyd, and numerous other Bengal players who used it as a chip on their shoulder, some motivation in this game, if you will. Not that they needed that much more motivation knowing what was on the line. One and done. You don't play well in a game like this on the road, you're going home. But the Bengals, again, using every little advantage and every little bit of motivation to their advantage, and that showed here on Sunday. The Bengals walking off winners. After the game, I asked Eli Apple while he was smoking a cigar in Joe Burrow fashion, "Why does this team play so well with a chip on its shoulder?" And he says, "Well, that's because we have the mad scientist, Lou Anarumo, calling a great game plan." And that indeed was the case here on Sunday. Let's not forget the play of the offensive line. Lots of questions coming into this game about whether or not 3 of 5 replacement offensive linemen could handle silent cadence in a loud environment like Highmark Stadium. Well, they answered that and flying colors here on Sunday afternoon. Jackson Carman played a spectacular game, probably the very best game of his career at the most critical time. He was great in run blocking pass situations, opening a couple of lanes for Mixon on the left side of the offensive line. He was good and solid in pass protection. Joe Burrow moving around in the pocket, being able to slide around in the pocket because the middle of the offensive line was stable. It has been all year. Ted Karras dinged up his right knee. Told me after the game he got rolled up on late in the first half, but the training staff did a great job fitting him with a brace and treating that knee at halftime, making sure he'd be good to go in the second half, and indeed he was. Also, let's not forget about the job Max Sharping did, the right guard, filling in again here in the playoffs for Alex Kappa. Out still with that left ankle sprain. He was wearing that boot in the locker room, celebrating with his team. And of course, Hakeem Adeniji has been playing a while now for Lael Collins at right tackle after Lael tore his ACL in the game on Christmas Eve, the win in New England against the Patriots. The Bengals are on to a rematch in the AFC title game against Patrick Mahomes, perhaps, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, Patrick Mahomes got his ankle dinged up in that win on Saturday over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chad Henne came in and directed the Chiefs on an important touchdown drive in their 27-20 win over Jacksonville. It will be the Bengals in Arrowhead for the second straight year in the AFC Championship game. The Bengals, of course, winning that stunner 27-24 in overtime last year. The Chiefs are 0-3 against Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes 0-3 against Joe Burrow. You're going to hear a lot of that storyline coming into this week, of course, as well as health updates on the Chiefs quarterback. But that's a wrap here inside Highmark Stadium. The Bengals pass their biggest test of the year with flying colors, beating the Buffalo Bills by a score of 27-10. We'll have complete coverage on clnsmedia.com. Follow me on Twitter for all of the post-game locker room reaction, and we'll certainly have you covered there. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube page. That would be the Jungle Roar Podcast YouTube page for all of your updates. Inside Highmark Stadium, Mike Petraglia, where the lights just came back on, CLNS Media.